Alright, got the whole brake system together. I gravity bled the system. There's the junction block. Everything's brand new in the hydraulic system. Got the drums turned. Drums cleaned up nice. So we're gonna replace this wheel bearing is bad. I'm gonna replace that, and on the other side over here, this side's all together, hydraulic lines, everything's new over to here. That drum's turned. So I'm going to get the wheel bearings together on this side and get this side together. These are the wheel bearings for the right hand side. They all, no pits, nothing wrong with them. They all cleaned up nice. I looked them over, looked at the races, and the hubs are all good. So we're gonna get the wheel bearings cleaned up. I still need to clean these ones, but just to note, there's an interesting little apparatus in the hubs there. I think they're aftermarket. This rides on the center. I don't know if it's supposed to keep current going through the wheel bearings or not, but anyway, I got a new wheel bearing to replace the bad one. About 30 years ago, I bought all this old inventory out of an old closed up GM dealer in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and I still have a pretty good supply of parts. I got new felt grease seals. These are the old grease seals, the original ones, and but I will put the new ones in it, and we'll get this all back together and we'll have brakes. One thing that I can't stress enough is cleanliness when doing wheel bearings. So get yourself some brake cleaner or something to that effect that evaporates quick, and spray out all this really good after your drums are turned, because you get shavings from turning the drum in here and the grease residue. So if you want your wheel bearings to last, these things have to be spotlessly clean, and inspect all your races for little pits or wear. These ones are good. This is the right hand side wheel and everything's good on it. So we're going to go ahead and get those. We'll throw them in the wheel bearing packer and get these things packed, and then get the wheel back on the car. Pretty simple cut and dry way of doing it without, and then you just use a grease gun, and then that'll pump until the grease comes out of all those bearings. That'll be full. Put some grease in there, and we'll have some repack bearings. Put the new grease seal in after it's all packed, and throw it back on the car. Adjust the brake shoes. Put the tire back on. Like I say, the brakes are bled. I gravity bled them. I might have to go around and hit every wheel one more time. Gravity is the best way to get the fluid through if it's completely drained. If you try and pump the pedal, you'll get nowhere with an empty system. So definitely, I bled the master on the bench, and then I gravity bled all the lines out, and that way you don't get all these micro little bubbles from trying to bleed it out while a completely empty system. There was zero fluid. Everything's new in the hydraulic system. And somebody had asked about the body on it, this dent in the hood. That, and there's one other dent right here, little scrape. That's about where it's stoved in, maybe about 6 inches long, and it's just barely in. So I don't know if I'm going to even bother with repairing that. I might just buff it out and call it good. Those are the only two dents in the whole car, I guess, after 56 years. That's pretty darn good. But I am going to repair the rust. The problem with this is there's an inner panel of the hood, so there's no getting in there to bump that out. If I bump this out, I'm going to have to pull it, and you can just weld little wires on there and pull it out. But the problem, work this with your body hammer, but I don't want to repaint the hood, so I think I might just believe that. The hood is, well, the whole car is still mostly the original paint. And the paint's pretty nice. I think it'll buff up pretty good. And that's why I may not do anything with that. We'll see if I can work it out without having to repaint the hood. I just might do it. Alright, we're going to change the wheel bearing here. You can see these little machined ears here. That's so you can hit this bearing's down in there this way, and you can get in there with a punch, and you can hit this side of the wheel bearing to drive it out this way. You can see down in there. That's where you'd punch it to get the outer wheel bearing out. This is the inner one, so I had it laying on this surface of the drum and drove this out this way, and then to reinstall it you use this tool to drive it in. I'll put a little oil on that and drive it in. I can't hold the camera and do all this at the same time. This is the old race that I just drove out. There's no pits or anything wrong with this race. It was just the race that was on the spindle. Had that one little pit, and I'm not taking any chances. So we're putting a new wheel bearing in it. Doing it, might as well make it right. So we'll get this together, and then on the car get the brakes adjusted, tires back on, and we'll have brakes. Brakes are all done. I greased the chassis for the second time. All the tie rod ends, ball joints, everything are good. There's no looseness in them. They've been kept well greased. But seeing it sat for 37 years, I did grease them, turn them, grease them. And this is the second time around, but you can see we got a good brake pedal now. Before that pedal wouldn't even budge. I could stand on it with both feet and it wouldn't move. So we got brakes. So now all we need is a radiator and a fuel tank and some decent tires, and we'll go cruising. Well, we could, but I'm not going to because it's winter time here in Michigan. But I'm going to start on the cosmetic stuff until a radiator comes in, and I gotta call the previous owner to see if he brought the gas tank down from up north. He still has the fuel tank. It had been removed, I assumed, to clean the stale gas out, and they never did anything with it. So hopefully I can get the fuel tank from them in the very near future. So anyway, yeah, and Pontiac's coming along good. One other note that I think is interesting on this car is the lug nut studs on the left side or left-hand thread, and they have an L stamped. You can see the L on that one. They have an L stamped into them. They're left-hand thread. Again, you can see where I put all new lines, hydraulic lines there. So yeah, we're ready to put the tires back on, and the car will be movable under its own power. Well, got the backup lights working. So everything works. The wipers work, backup lights, brake lights. Everything on the car works. Awesome. That's reverse all the way down to the, like that. Awesome. So the brakes are completely done. I put that pad on the door. I'll show you why. I just taped it to the handle, not to the paint. But that's why I did it. And I got to retape it now, obviously. But yeah, I didn't want to gash my pickup. So we have brakes. All the tires are on, hubcaps are on. Waiting on a radiator and the gas tank. I'm going to call the previous owner of the car here in a little bit and see if he brought the gas tank down from up north.